pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster? Gangster? Gangster?
Black power, my ass, y'all just playing the ass posing, frontin', no bustin', no dirty cock gun button. At least more's right, rich, trying to do something. Pen as my weapon, feathers up and turbans, no bluffing. Don't get it twisted, so or more get handcuffing. Judges dismiss cases, prosecutors cussing, telling my guys recuse themselves or get sued. Civil rights leaders are conscious blacks marching on news, stopping traffic, or people that didn't kill their sons and daughters. In Canaanland, we call you bright and out of order. Nationality has me awake like a sleep disorder, while most wear blinders, my peripherals broader. For the record, I sweat nervous court reporters in Admiralty maritime shores, Moors walk on water. Ancients return with mental cures, no sight blurred, while they stay killing their minds and saying they learn.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster?
Your forefathers had names before they became slaves. Seems like today it's only nicknames and pain. You should be learning so pain could stop from these vermin. German Nazi Inquisitionists enslaving with sermons. Declared independence, still giving Moors reverence. Talking treaties with Muslims at Oval Office entrance. To the entrance masses, keep them docile and passive. Killing them, corralling blacks, acting like hostile fascists. Take oaths to break them, unless it's from the Lord. They give profits, we take them and neglect ancestors. Playing Mr. Tuffy, smoking a Dutch from the same master. Bully stealing your money for lunch. Wanna drink from their bowl cause they spike their punch. With Clorox, I'm not guessing, but I have a hunch. I can say I stand up to mercenary punks, while you face proposing with Glocks cocked and shotguns come.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster?
If you got guns and use them on targets moving. Try KKK badge carriers in your hood cruising. I'm not promoting violence, it's a point I'm proving it. Moore's methods do work, but coons disapproving. Khalid calling you out, but you're attacking the sheep and want to show me how good you are with your hands and feet. Never challenge a cop when they arresting your brother, or will wear hoods and hold skittles one after another. Acting with lethal weapons, Mel Gibsons and gloves. Shot in the back, I'm watching you suffer. Black standing on corners in seconds, life smothered. She forgave him for a son's death, but listen to mother, listen to common exercising his five senses. The end racism, stop looking through racial lenses. Look at constitutional, not civil defenses. Stop marching, the only thing that pickets is fences.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster? Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster? I've never heard of it.
On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When the truth gets revealed, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. On the real, on the real. When I uplift the fallen humans from the ashes, the phoenix will rise and live on after it clashes. Feathers and head wraps, costume ball sashes. Atlantis and Pangea was us ruling the atlas. The mundane, some god and numb brain. Judah is reincarnate, some self-proclaimed. Taking the lessons from Quran questions. Bible as my rolling pad, holy book, circle 7. Forerunner Marcus Garvey coming in the whirlwind. Moorish Bobo Muftis in the black turban. Pioneer exposed as the triple crown glows. Every Negus has the Negus as his throne. The temple as the body. Truth as my shoddy. With no bulge, I'm still armed without the robbery. Master arts martial, and they marshal the law. Peace offers abuse authority, fracture your jaw. Clapping at y'all at bachelor parties. Not knowing whether it's controlled by HAARP. Stopping the tapping of UH frequency. Sent to the higher self from Sirius B, or maybe Sirius A. The reverse is serious internet radio play. Like square shreddies are now dominant mute. Misleading, they charge a bill 50 for a shoe. It takes $5 to make. They load trucks with bins. Same goes for cars, construction Tims. So clean, no scuffs. Revolution chumps, reclining in the armchair, speechless like mumps. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution on their party, yo, square. Change is coming. I'm watching hybrids running for shade, cause Earth's hot, not like a preheat oven. Raid the stores for UV protection. If AIDS can go through the condoms, who you protecting? Neglecting the truth and lie accepting. Not in for a person, reparations expecting. Planes going down, but you're not ejecting. Too busy crossing with the spinning rims and white feet is flexing. Fronts are fake elements, that's not real gold. Running from police with guns is not too bold, cause you got a gun but won't shoot back, son, or shoot first and earn your way off earth. Suicide is a sin and sin is ignorance. Not thinking criddle makes you ignorant. Missing the message. Ego filling your brain with nonsensical thoughts just to drive you insane. On the real, all these 30 Moors know the deal. On the real, all these 30 Moors know the deal. On the real, all these 30 Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution on it, probably do it square. Our leaders labeled black, they were assigned to us. As ancients, we flew. We didn't have to ride the bus or drink at their fountain. We didn't even need our own. The gun is a penis and every man is holding a chrome. Thinking it's tough, but when you shoot, you bust like Vixens holding you in with the camera with clutch, smoking a Dutch, but taught much against the master. Sellouts will pay karmic debt in the life after. Don't believe me, seek the truth. I hear Hail Hitler when I play back these hip-hop loops that rap hip-hop. Nas said it's dead. Same gun he raps about, shot J in the head, cripple a team. These ball players, they cripple a dream. Counting the asses that they slap but won't get a bad rap. And rap sheets written by them, it's police, not following Moors, but niggas booming in their Jeeps. Europeans on the bus, they acting like niggas, straight off the plantation, looking like J Hill figure. From the foreigner, you'll never get compensated. This armor you man saying he's strapped, you been miseducated. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. When the truth gets revealed, all they probably do is squeal. On the real, all these dirty Moors know the deal. On the real, on the real. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they're real but they're too fake. Most act minor but think they're too great. Most meet fake just cause they too bait. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they real but they too fake. Most act minor but think they too great. Most meet fake just cause they too bait. Welcome to Scarborough. Youths want cash without tangle. Candle magic got me calling on Shango. When I strike, I'm coming from lightning angles. Wet up in your ride like dangles. Know your place. When me and the God step into place, devils get step in their face. No matter your race, watch your speech. We defend peace with justice. Love for the God make you shit like mustard or run like custard. Too slow, so you know how it go. Send him to Assad. I'm not the one to judge you, bro, or judge you you, sis. Humanity written from hip to hip, but you're shaking them and not getting your womb equipped. Degrading yourself for women's rights, not saving yourself. Turning a dyke, but won't spiritually raise yourself. Waste of sperm, can't even wait to perm. Getting viruses and symptoms, you're thinking it's germs. Making so many mistakes, from none you learn. Seeing your future as the fucking cauldron turn. Ease the burn of your young son's death. Blaming the influence, but never blaming yourself. Drive a shot, but never a crooked cop. Crip shot, but never a racist cop. Racism doesn't exist, so stop. Rex 84, King Alfred got him on the block for chopping. Nigga Mortus, abuse ain't stopping. Guns on your shirts, but your pistol's not cocking. Popping and locking, guns jammed for 10 you're locked in. Or eternal sleep in a closed coffin. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they real, but they too fake. Most act minor, but think they too great. Most meet fake just cause they too big. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they real, but they too fake. Most act minor, but think they too great. Most meet fake just cause they too big. They got you stuck on some fakeness. We revealed this, you heard of us. Official lower self-murderers. These Mars come equipped for warfare. Tam or Kufi, Lisufi are my corp of Mufti. For all those who wanna profile and pose. See a nigga dressing or a fag made his clothes. You all alone in that gear, cousin. Gangsta hardcore thugs, you just frontin'. Cops keep them fake crews running like they supposed to. Rich like Scarface, you never come close to. I can see it, eyes tell no lies. Assalamu alaikum, selling white sugar in those bean pies. Giving dollars to Doc's lawyer who took the bar. And between you and your leader, he's being a bar. Some say I'm rude, blame Brother Dawood or Azariah. Pastor Beverly, the Messiah. David Walker, action not a talker. Sleepwalker, wake up, you're just daydreaming. Dirty Moors don't want to be God and stay heathen. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they real, but they too fake. Most act minor, but think they too great. Most meet fake just cause they too big. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they real, but they too fake. Most act minor, but think they too great. Most meet fake just cause they too big. Rappers think they hot, niggas warm like Luke. Oops, call them dirty Moors is what we taught to do. Not the Klansmen, burning some cross for you. If he's got a speechwriter, who's the boss to you? Voting for Obama, I see he's off like you. I walk, don't need a boxed up Porsche like you. Loving the fiat, dirty Moors thugging for fiat. Grabbing old ladies' purses, they mugging for fiat. Some taking, some bake, for fiat they drugging. Fiat is backed by nothing, fam, I'm not bluffing. Players hands on their ass like it's turkey they stuffing. Doing it for your boys, treat your girl like nothing. Matriarch rules, patriarch fools. I'm seeing gods act like men, thinking like mules. Square my rough edges without mason tools. I never took an oath, so I'm revealing mason rules. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they real, but they too fake. Most act minor, but think they too great. Most meet fake just cause they too bait. Most don't learn till it's too late. Most say that they real, but they too fake. Most act minor, but think they too great. Most meet fake just cause they too bait. Produced by D&D, Gagotas, Iron Sheik, CMP. Islam Moors, peace and love, peace and love. We're here once again, Canaanland Moors Tuesday session. We got a good one today. Should be interesting, should be inspiring from somewhere that you might not have expected to get inspired from. But before we do that, I just want to say Islam to all the Moors, give honors to all the ancestors for making it possible for us to be able to be doing this work that we're doing, because we could be Negroes out there doing crazy stuff. We could be dirty Moors. At least we're on the path that, you know, something is going to be done. If not for us, definitely for the future generations. Before we start up, I just want to read out of Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters. Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters. And this is Professor Hilton Hotima, 1969. Man is what his environment and education make him. These mold the thoughts and fix the beliefs that control his mind. When we control the mind, we control the man. To that end, your environment was built around you, and the scope of your education was prepared by the powers that rule our civilization. So well has this work been done that all you are looking for now is more evidence to support what you already believe, and you call that searching for truth. Before man can understand the truth, he must learn to understand the untruth his cunning rulers had led him to believe was the truth. You are prepared for the truth by learning how you have been deceived. To aid you in your search of truth, we shall reveal the light that went out when Christianity was born in the 4th century. The church destroyed the evidence of its nefarious work, so the world knows little of the cause of that long black night in European civilization, so essential to the propagation of its doctrine of damnation. The era began in the 4th century AD, when the epoch-making event occurred that changed the calendar of the Christian world and the entire course of Europe, Egypt, Asia Minor, and all countries ruled by the Roman Empire. Keep in mind, he said Asia Minor, not Africa. Then, rapidly followed by many changes, including the destruction of ancient temples of science and religion, the burning of ancient scriptures and historic records, the persecution, liquidation, and assassination of learned men, and the advent of the Dark Ages. A history of that period could not be written due to destruction of the historic records, the ban on learning, and the suppression of knowledge. In fact, the church laid down the rule to govern its followers in its interpretation. I am determined not to know anything among you, save Jesus Christ and him crucified. From all parts of the globe, the writings and discoveries of the masters had been collected and deposited in several spacious buildings, especially the Bruckian and the Serapeum, Bruckion, Serapeum. Thus, the sun of the ancient science, which had lighted the path of the traveler from the days of Adam, was to sink into darkness and rise no more until distant generations would come to understand what the masters had discovered concerning the mysteries of man and creation. The ancient religion was now called paganism, heathenism, to discredit and make it appear revolting. Those who dared adhere to it were smeared and termed heathens, and bitterly persecuted and put to death. The church spread darkness and ignorance to conceal the fact that the old religion was based on the discoveries of ancient science covering thousands of years, while the new religion was invented in a convention of bishops in 325 AD and founded on fraud, as explained in our work titled Mystery Man of the Bible. The old religion recognized a scientific law of animation and spiritualization. The new religion was divorced from all law and depended, and still depends, upon ignorance and superstition. The old religion is based on the scientific principle that birth in the physical world is death in the spiritual world, while death in the physical world is birth in the spiritual world. And as we have explained in our work titled Cosmic Creation, in which we showed that death is a creative process in every aspect, just as birth is. The new religion is based on absurd theory of physical resurrection, a posthumous judgment, a vicarious atonement, a mythical heaven for the saved, and a mythical hell for the damned. Hilton Hotima, Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters. So I got a message last week Wednesday. Knowing all is well with you, brother, and thinking about you. And it's probably been a little while since, you know, had any contact with the brother. So said, hey, you know, whenever you're free, you know, let's do the interview. He said, yo, anytime, you already know what's good. So since I didn't have any content for today's class, because, you know, just stuff going on in Canaanland, you know what I mean? Didn't even sit down this week to read any books or whatever. I figured we'd do this interview. It's probably long overdue, but at the same time, we already know that nothing before it's time. So, Islam, more.
Islam, brother.
Peace and love, family. How you doing?
I'm doing quite excellent. Quite excellent. Myself.
Everything is peaceful and everything is aligned.
Indeed.
Now, what I'll be doing is because I have you plugged into the speaker, so whenever you're talking, I'm gonna be muted. So if my response is a little delayed, that's why.
Okay, no problem. Understood.
Now, I wanted to leave the hoopla for later and deal with just some perspectives before we even get into, you know, who you are and all that.
Sounds.
This concept of us being Moors and having a nationality and we're not black and all that. How did you get to this place, knowing that you're not Negro, black, colored, and all that?
I think it started with my finally submitting to the feminine aspect of myself. I was a Christian growing up. My mother passed when I was around 25. She was 50 years of age. And my grandmother, of course, passed when I was younger. And they both visited me in a dream and left substantial evidence that it was more than a dream. So in reading the book, the Bible, the New Testament, and then, of course, going back and reading from Genesis to Malachi, and reading all of the great masters, all of the great Christ, who, of course, were melanated individuals, Moorish individuals. I started to adapt my life to theirs and started to adapt the principles of what they taught. I was able to pull out abstractly away from what I had been taught in the church. I was able to pull out some great truths and live by them. And it gave me an awakening. So I submitted to the feminine powers at that time, I still prayed. I didn't meditate at that time. This was, I don't know what, I forget how many years ago. And
sorry, pardon the interjection. I just wanted to say peace to Brother Supreme. But sorry for interjecting, but I wanted to ask you something because you said something and then it might blow over before I bring it back up again. You said that you had a dream and something happened in the dream that made you realize that, you know, there's something about dreams we should consider. Could you talk on that realm, like what that did, and if possible, what, you know, how people could relate to what you actually experienced from the dream that made you have this, you know, awakening?
Well, we as melanated people have a connection to the ancestral realm, okay, and that's just a slice of the pie regarding a 360-degree spiritual circle that's out there. I was able to eat upon that specific slice because my great grandmother and my mother visited me from that ancestral realm, and I remember crying when I woke up. This is the one that when my grandmother visited me, and I was crying when I woke up from the dream. I tried to get out of the bed and I fell on the floor, and I couldn't get off of the floor, and I'm crying and I'm crying. And it wasn't until a good 7, 8, 10 minutes later where I actually called my aunt, and she asked me, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? And I said, I don't know what's wrong. I can't get off the floor. And at that instant, it's like there was a release. I was able to get off of the floor. And I understand now that my grandmother wanted me not to think that this was some superficial thing. This was not to be dismissed, right? She wanted me to know and have a witness, like this really happened. And, early on, before now, it's very solid to me now that it was a very true thing. But early on, I would always call my aunt and say, do you remember when I called you? She said, yeah, you called me, you was crying, you couldn't get off the floor, right? And that's a very substantial thing. It's a very true thing. But it's very hard for us as melanated people to express experiences to our other brothers and sisters who haven't experienced it. So I fully understand dismissals or disbelief of such things because I was one of those. I was a skeptic. So I fully understand that. But it is a quite substantial thing. It's one of the most important things in that spiritual circle. All of them are equally important, but for me, because I had that specific experience, that's very, very important to me. And what I did from that, and in following what people would call Christian or Judean scriptures, but they're really Kemetic, Moorish. They're really, the great meditators, of which we call Buddhas, but we're just talking about spiritual melanated ancestors. All of the masters have always been extremely melanated individuals. So whatever name you want to give to these individuals, we're talking about individuals who reach, if not the highest state, some of the highest states of spirituality while in this matrix, in this illusion of what we call reality. All right. And in following, so I got to the part where I decided to fast from females, to fast from women. And I did so for about 18 months. And in doing so, I gained the realization of what a woman was for, why I needed a feminine energy to balance out my over masculinity. So I got on my knees and I prayed. Like I said, at the time I still prayed. And I asked, now that I understand it was the God inside of me, to give me a woman who I could be compatible with. And in meeting her, she bumped into a brother who was a Moor, whom I met with because his idealisms I agreed with, but I didn't know of the whole Moorish movement. And I connected with him. So I said, well, obviously this is the path of which I want to travel down. And he pointed me to people like, Taj, Tariq Bey, Dr. Aleem. I ended up finding you on my own, Cujo. But, and ever since then, because one of the great principles is you study it for yourself. All right. You look and seek it for yourself. We're going to tell you this, and we're going to express to you our truth, but do not believe me. Read it, study it, find it for yourself to be true. And that's a principle that still sits extremely well with me because basically this Moorish foundation is just that. It's a foundation. It's an entire house to build on that foundation, right? Much higher levels of spirituality. What the Moorish principle foundation did for me, for my own personal experience, it showed me on the lowest level of consciousness, you're much more, and there is much more in this illusionary aspect of reality that's really happening, that's really going on. And you have to look in a different direction, and you have to go farther and further regarding what you presume to be knowledge. And that alone, okay, For somebody to say, hey, what you're seeing, you ain't really seeing. What you're seeing is really a lie. For somebody to take some time and set up groups and set up meeting places, okay, and set up programs, okay, for those of us who are out here just walking around in the dark to be able to conjoin and have a place for that whisper in the ear to take place, that is invaluable. So no matter how spiritually high I get, I always claim it is the Moorish foundation that found me. It is the Moorish foundation that helped to awake me with my ancestors. And for me, it is Islam, I, self-law, and master forever.
Now, what could you give some reference points as to what made that stick to you? Like what are some quote unquote Moorish inspiration that made you realize how serious this is, opposed to, you know, any other school of thought that someone says, oh, I'm part of that, or I'm a member of that, or I belong to that?
Well, the very principle of I, self-law, and master. All right? Because every other, presumably outside of meditation, everything has you look into the external. All right? In this Moorish foundation, another great principle, they're saying, well, look here, you're God, which is a very scary thing coming from Christianity or Judaism, or, you know, the Muslim background, or, you know, Hindu, or anything else, where you're presumably looking for something outside of yourself. All right? Because as soon as you get to the higher principles and the higher understandings of spirituality, when you can go back to the foundation, you say, oh, the foundation was right there. That's what it was teaching me from the very beginning. You know that's probably how you got to those higher principles. All right. I, self-law, and master. All right. The law is in me. Okay. To educate means to draw out. All right. To draw something out, that means you have to go in it to draw it out. Okay. And in that Islam statement, I kept, as I would doubt, as I would have difficulties, I kept leaning on myself, as Frankie Beverly May says, I got myself, okay, to remind me of love. All right. My mind and my heart, I believe in love. Well, again, this Moorish foundation encompasses the truth in songs. It has within it the truth in all the scriptures, but still it allows you to be able to operate what we call in reality, to fight against the wicked, or I will call the false doctrine of what they call legality. All right. It gives you a physical weapon out here. It says, hey, look at yourself, right? When you look at these Moorish brothers and sisters on YouTube who are fighting this wicked fake reality, this wicked fake establishment, they're in the magi, the fake magi courts, right? With great power, speaking great truth, right? Dealing out great fear upon that fake matrix. Well, you can see it's clear as day that they are leaning on themselves, their self-study, their self-preservation. You can see Islam in action and live. And that right there was one of the things, say, wait a minute, this is real. All right? A fearlessness. that was being exemplified over and over. And that's a very hard thing to not hold in awe and not want to follow.
1 second. I wanna stress the point of something, because you were talking about the fearless. Now, you know, based on what it is that you used to do, right? Like, but personally, you have to have a fearless mindset to partake in that. You know what I mean? Because that's all. It's a different mind. You know what I mean? Than the common people, right? People in that realm have a different mind. By the way you're speaking, it sounds like that fearlessness has nothing to do with what you're talking about right now.
Nothing.
Right. So what is this perspective of fearlessness, so that when we get to, you know, what it is that you used to do, they could really see how different you're looking at Moorish, whatever, compared to the way that the average person with the average mind is thinking about it?
Well, one of the things I've come to realize, Brother Cujo, is that there's a such thing as there's an apparent truth, and then there's an actual truth. And apparent truths can expand very far and go very deep, and you can travel a long way in it. And as further you go, the more you say, oh, this is it, this is it, this is it. One of the great apparent truths is that those who fight in wars, or those who box, or those who engage in some type of heroic act, one of the great apparent truths is that they are fearless. Okay? Now, it's hard to refute such a thing to a lower conscious mind, but I will try to explain. It is usually fear itself that is fueling such individuals to do the acts that they are doing. Okay? The fear of poverty, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of death. Okay? And to say that you overcame your fear via the act could not be so if the fear is the fuel. So what you have done, essentially, is steep yourself in a deeper, greater soil of fear without knowing it. And what happens is there is a subconscious splinter of that specific thing that you did, which you break off from the rest of your fear. You say, well, because I did this, I ain't scared. But what you don't understand is that you're so much deeper in fear. There's so much more of that lower end frequency, that lower end vibration around you, that other things in your life that are affected so much by it, right? You know, lower vibration, your child may be constantly sick. Things is always just constantly going wrong. You may, in other aspects of your life, other than that thing in which you tricked yourself into, like, well, I can't be scared. I ain't scared because I did this. You don't understand the science of frequency and vibration and things around you going so terribly wrong. And because you did this and maybe you made money from it, or you did this and you got a reward for it, or you did this and everybody on the news saw it. And you say, well, because I did this, there, you know, I'm somebody or something. Where the universe is giving you negative energy back because that's what you put out and everything else is going wrong. And you are blinded to the actual truth that you are scared out of your mind. Because in actuality, fearlessness and facing it is an inner turmoil of which you have to accept, which you have to admit to. There's no fighting involved. You have to remain equanimous to the truth of the fact that you are scared. Scared to be poor, scared to die, scared to lose your girlfriend, scared to be sick. You are scared out of your mind. Face that frequency and vibration. And once you face it and let it flow through you, nature will then take it back. That's the actual fearlessness. So the apparent truth and the actual truth regarding fearlessness is two very distinctively different things. The one of which the Moorish foundation, the Islam foundation gives you, well, it doesn't give it to you. It points you in the direction. It points you in the path. You got to go get it yourself. It points you in the direction of the path to travel down the road that will get you to the actual truth of fearlessness and not the apparent. If that answers your question, brother.
Yes, sir. Islam.
Islam.
With regard to Noble Drew Ali and a Christian making the transition, since you used to be, that world, and a lot of times it's hard to accept, he's a prophet and all this type of stuff. So just from a perspective of somebody, with a dogmatic mindset, how should they approach Noble Drew Ali and his work?
Individuals with dogmatic mind states are usually coming from a conditioned mind perspective. They've been told what a prophet is. All right. They've been given movies and images of what a prophet is. Okay. And knowing and understanding that once you get to high levels of understanding, knowing and understanding that genius lies within all of us. Okay. And spiritual gifts lie within all of us. All right. Some of us actually rise to the level of these spiritual gifts. Okay. And some of us do not within specific lifetimes. If the individual with the dogmatic mind could understand that this individual who brought forth a movement regarding uplifting melanated individuals, regarding a sustained movement of geniuses being produced. Okay? The American Moorish movement, in my opinion, and in my experience, has put forth some of the most phenomenal men with wounds, wombats, and men without wounds that I have ever met in my entirety. Now, if you look towards, again, those with dogmatic minds, a lot of them who are with our type of melanation, they are in the dogma of Christianity. And in that same dogma, Yeshua, Jesus, Jesus, whatever name you wish to call him, was treated the exact same way within the storyline of the Christian doctrine, of which those around us, you grew up around here, little homie. Like how you talking about like you reached Christhood? Right? Then even those of whom, and that's when he went back home And basically, his neighborhood people, his town people, like, come on, little G, like, we remember you. Now you talking about some you and light. But not even that. Even those who were following him, all right, who he showed with examples his great power, all right. And he told them, well, look, if don't worry about me being the son of nature of God. What about accept me for the works I've done? What about the work I done done? How about you can't say that ain't happened? You seeing the stuff I done did. So that's why I go with the dogmatic mind. Look at the Moorish movement, started by Noble Drew Ali. Look at it. Like, if you don't want to do the whole prophet thing, okay, all right. But what about the fruit that's come from the tree? Can you knock it? Right? Can you at least respect that?
Right.
So, you know.
Because it's, you know, like, even on our side, there's that issue, you know, of not wanting to accept certain things. You know, there's a wave, and once you get on the wave, sometime it causes you to change. So could you speak on because you talk about higher knowledge a lot, and what about the negative side of that, like taking the higher knowledge the wrong way?
That's a wonderful question. Wonderful question. Because I try to tell people, you know, I study astrology, I study the Vedas, I study, of course, the Christian doctrine, I study the Muslim, I study Kabbalah, okay? I study Sufism, okay? Studying these things from the mental aspect, from the knowledge aspect, does not give you the in-depthness of what we call understanding that you're supposed to have. All right? Because all of it is superficially trying to get you back to spirituality, and nobody wants to take the time and the effort that it takes to get back to spirituality. Now, okay, I'm going to take you to the great master, C. Perennial, all right, who Bobby Hemmett had the highest respect for, because that's how Bobby Hemmett got on his thing, all right? C. Perennial tells you straight up, there is no gaining godhood without meditation. These are his words. Simple and plain. There is no getting to the deeper depths of spirituality without meditation. What is meditation? Meditation on a dogmatic level. Let's deal with the, like you said, the lesser minds. No disrespect when that statement is made, because I have been one of them for the majority of my life. The word ignorance is not a disrespectful statement. Okay? But what we are talking about is listening to God, because you are God. And listening to God, the only way you can hear God is you have to be able to keep your mind still. And that is what the practice of meditation is. Keeping your mind still. And I assure most of the people listening, if I set you down for 1 hour, if you could sit down and be still for 1 hour and make you focus on your breath, which is just the beginning understanding of meditation. We call that in with the great melanated brother Gautama, who reached Buddhahood, he called that anapana. That's just the beginning of teaching you meditation. You are to focus on your breath for 1 hour and try not to think of anything else. I guarantee you, your mind will be moving so much that within 30 seconds, you would think, oh, I wonder what I'm going to eat today. Then you go, oh, let me get back to my breath. Oh, I wonder what my wife is. I wonder what my children. Oh, I wonder if LeBron's going to score. Oh, let me get back to my breath. The inability to keep your mind still shows the inability to truly understand this thing, the in-depthness of this thing of which we call knowledge. So anybody can, right? If you, once you're able to keep your mind still and listen to the God in you, you gain deeper levels of understanding of the knowledge that you have read or the things in this physical matrix in which you have experienced. And nobody can sway you from that. When you know something from an experience, nobody can sway. If you stuck your hand in fire 5 times and it burns you, can't nobody come and tell you from that experience, no, that fire don't burn. Stick your hand in there. You can't be swayed from that because you've had that experience. Keeping your mind still is what people call magic. This magical thing happens when the God inside of you, when you talk to you and give yourself an experience, an inner experience without you having to physically do it in this matrix. You get an inner experience, right? It's called education. You draw out of yourself the truth of the knowledge, and then nobody can come and sway you this way or that way regarding something you've read or some knowledge that your brothers and sisters have shared with you. Nobody can easily sway you from it. But until you do that part, of which the great master, Brother C. Perennial, who's, I'm pretty sure he's having a beautiful transition to wherever else he is, tried to let us know, look, it ain't no godhood without meditation. I'm sorry. I know everybody, you want to eat veganism? I totally agree. I'm a vegan. You want to study all the scriptures that have been written? I totally agree. I studied them all. You want to claim Islam? I totally agree. I claim it as well. But until you sit your tail down and try to study and keep your mind still, all of it is for naught. And that's a very, very harsh statement that I'm making to a lot of very knowledgeable brothers.
No,
but I think that's...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
I think that's why it's so much swaying. Because we don't know ourselves. We talk about it. We have the concept of it, but nobody has truly experienced it. Nobody don't know. Right? Gerald Mancy talks about the great Negro God, Buddha. The Buddha statue with the afros, right? Which he said, he thought it was a religion. He didn't understand it was just a great spiritual teaching. He said during his time, it trumped Christianity. It was so popular across the globe that it made Christianity look like a peon of a thing today. Brothers all across the globe were sitting down, whether they were sitting in chairs, or they were sitting in a loaded stance, and they were listening for the God in themselves. They were keeping their minds still. For I can't give you nothing when your hands are full. Your hands are full when your mind is moving. The God in you can only give you something when you release what you got, when you keep your mind still. Then only you could hear it. Them, they, the perfect balance of feminine and masculine energy that's in you. So I think that's what has a great deal to do with the swaying back and forth, not knowing oneself, and having experience in that knowledge of which people are claiming. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, loud and clear, Mark. Loud and clear. Now, when we speak about that with meditation, like I've experienced with using external things to look at God within you, and as well with meditation to know what it is that we know, and to have the, you know, the openness to be who it is that we know that we are, you know, the higher beings. Is this thing that when you say meditation, because I think a lot of the pull away is the idea of having to sit and be still. So could you open that door to how people who want to do that could make that transition? Because I know for me, that was one of the first things with me, was getting over actually having to sit still.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually having to, you know, have, you know, your feet in the grass or feet on the ground, or, you know, being in a place of solitude, and going back to, you know, with scriptures and stuff like that. And he was in the temple and he was contemplating and all this type of stuff. We're like, damn, these people have been meditating the whole time, and we've been wasting time not meditating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so how could they make that transition into starting to meditate, or meditating more, or taking it to, you know, like what type of experiences should people have meditating if they haven't?
Well, the vast majority, if not all, of mankind have entered a state of meditation. They're usually lower vibrational meditation, because there is no vibration higher than the one that's inside of you. Okay. So, and a lot of times that's why they are so very addicted to it, because it's the thing that connects them to the spiritual realm so strong, and they don't even recognize it. So that's why they just can't let it go. Okay. One of the number one ones is jazz music, rhythm and blues music, and classical music. All right. That's why you might not know Jay-Z's second or third album, but you still have all of Marvin Gaye stuff. It's just as popular today as it was then. Okay. It's just as powerful today as it was then. Because the type of music that he was making, the vibration that was tuned to 432, okay, not 440. All right. Even if the music was, his voice is 432. All right. Moves you so. And we can go, I mean, we can go Patti LaBelle, right? We can go, is a million brothers and sisters who, Jill Scott, is a million brothers and sisters who, that vibration that's coming out of them puts you in this trance-like inner stillness. Even though you're singing a song, the very fact that you can follow that song clearly in your mind, line for line, lets you know that there's a stillness in that moment, in those 4 minutes of that song that you're having, and you don't even know it. All right? You have certain type of tinctures and teas, whether it's a marijuana tea, whether it's ayahuasca, which is a much more powerful one. As powerful as it is, it still does not get you to the level of vibration of your own vibration. All right. Whether you burn the marijuana, all right, whether you are sniffing the coca leaf or you're burning it, this is putting you in a place. Now, obviously, some of it, the side effects is so detrimental that maybe it's quite obvious that you shouldn't keep doing certain things to stay in that trance state. But it's so addictive, it's hard for brothers and sisters to stop. I understand that. But the whole point of the music, let's use the great, and let's go back to the Christian doctrine again, because I understand that most of us who are melanated, who look like you and I, Brother Cujo, that they have that great understanding of that. And in that storyline, King David, he was a musician. And what did he do with his great skill of music. He wrote these great songs to God. Okay? And I remember in the story, he goes to get the sacred box back, and he's singing and dancing all the way back till he sings and dances himself into a trance, of which his clothes fall off of him. Right? He basically put himself in a meditative state via music. And they say that in the story, it says that God loved him so, favored him so, because he was able to bring frequencies from his inside, from his higher self, and bring it out into this matrix and share it with other people. All right? So a lot of people don't understand that in their everyday lives, their everyday habits, whether their habits are detrimental long-term or not, don't understand that they're constantly in and out of meditative states. Now, there's the highest level of a meditative state, for which you don't have to jump into an hour. Try for 10, 15 minutes, sit down in a chair. Sit down in what when I was younger, we called it Indian style, right? Or what people call the lotus stand. Get comfortable, put your back up against the wall, and focus on your breathing. Just pay attention to the air that's coming in and out of your nose. Try it for 15 minutes. All right? But all of us have already been introduced to meditation. That's why we so easily conditioned. Those who have stolen the sacred knowledge and used it for wrong know, like, oh, all we got to do is put certain images out. It's going to put them into a trance meditative state, and this will download and crystallize into their DNA, and they won't be able to get it off. It's called TV, right? It's called, certain verses in rap, right? Certain frequencies in rap, right? It's called, the overuse of negative lower vibrational frequencies, right? Which they put it in, Monsanto is putting it in the food. Okay? Cigarette people are putting it in the tobacco, right? When you pull in, those of you who smoke, when you pull in that draw from that cigarette, you are entering a meditative state. Unfortunately, it's on the wrong side of, I will call alkalinity. Is on the wrong side of the 7. Okay, and this is putting you in it's downloading acidity and crystallizing acidity onto your DNA. But all of us are constantly entering in and out of meditative states. We just have to overcome the conditioned negative medication that's constantly been given to us. It's hard to pull away from the TV. It's hard to pull away from certain things we eat. It's hard to pull away from certain music. But you have to try. You have to put forth a true attempt and sit down and be still and quiet for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Start somewhere. All right? If you just want to start with Miles Davis, put some Miles Davis on. 5, 10, 15 minutes. And just focus on those horns, on those chords, on those beats. And then slowly but surely transition into silence. Where we've always been doing it, and we always will be doing it. We're just not doing it at the highest level, which is quietness, which is tuning into the vibration of self. There is no higher vibration.
Peace.
Indeed.
Something I had on my mind. I need some more Supreme L. I was supposed to get my training. I forgot to pardon the interjection when I wanted to say something that I forgot. So make sure everybody out there, make sure you go check Pardon the Interjection on Brother Supreme L's channel. He got some good ones, and he's gonna be He's going to be ready because he's taking a little relax right now. You know, he's taking a little relax right now, but he's definitely going to be making a return with a vengeance. So we just will the more well. Now, there's a lot of haters. When you look at in the beginning, you mentioned Alim, Taj Street Bay, you mentioned C. Freemanel, you know, Canaanland, Moors, RV Bay. Talk about how those avenues, you know, brought you to this information or assisted you with this Moorish nationality idea.
It did more than assist me. You know, like you said, it dragged me, because the more I wanted to sway away and look in a different direction, I could not refute these great truths, of which I could see the evidence with my own eyes. I could not refute these great truths. And like you said, I literally, because I'm very fortunate in my life to have an abundance of time. You know, all of those individuals, you know, I literally just spent days and days and weeks and months and years finding every YouTube video I could on them and listening to all of them in their entirety, and going back and buying books based on what they said and cross-referencing their information and researching and just going so deep into those teachings. And what I found is this regarding any elders, and the elder is just a person who has knowledge, usually more than you. So, you know, a 12-year-old young man who has true knowledge, who has true understanding of self, if he has something to teach you, he's an elder, okay? But most elders, you know, are older because, you know, they've spent more time studying, they put more work in. What I found is that me speaking right now, there are some things in which I'm off on, okay? There's some things in which I might not 100% be maybe stating in the correct way, or exemplifying in a way that which your mind's eye wants to see it, or the history may be off a little bit, and that's where, because you mentioned, you know, the term hater, that's where we tend to hold, well, we tend to hold our brothers and sisters to. We tend to hold our brothers and sisters to the standard of their wrongs. Right? When these individuals are giving you this wealth of information, if they are wrong, take what they have given you that is right and take that and build upon it. I had nothing for me to come into this, get this from you, and then turn around like, you know, you wrong on that and try to tear you down. But wait, what about what I gave you? What about this good stuff that I gave you? Can you not hold me to that? Again, I guess that's kind of similar to the whole Yeshua story that I spoke to earlier. And that's kind of like the state that we're in, because of course we're in the age of darkness. We're in the Iron Age, the age of Amen, the Kali Yuga, says the Vedas. All right, where the overall energy that we're dealing with. All right, I'm talking about the one that's over the great year, because a lot of people, the great 25,000 year, that great year, people are saying, "Oh yeah, we're coming out of the Kalimba, and we're coming, we're about to go back up into the bronze, silver, go back straight right back to gold, right? Because we're coming out of Pisces and we're going into Aquarius." But they don't understand that there is a gold, silver, bronze, and iron age within the overall arching golden age. There is a gold, silver, bronze, and iron age within the overall arching silver age, right? People don't understand. There's time is within time within time. There's a gold, silver, bronze, and iron age within the overall bronze age, and then there's a gold, silver, bronze, and iron age within the overall iron age. All right? I mean, the Earth rotates on its axis, then it revolves around the sun. The sun is rotating on its own axis, and it is revolving around the entire Milky Way. With us revolving around it, the entire Milky Way is revolving around something else, right? We're talking about magnetism within magnetism within magnetism. All right. So bringing that all the way back, understanding that the times that we're in and the overall energy that's penetrating, this age of darkness that we're in, I understand the mindset of people. What we call hating, right? I've given you something that has stood you up. You get it, and then where I'm wrong at, you tear me down in that specific area. Instead of saying, "Oh, my great master was off on that little small area right there," or "this great elder was off in this small area," that's so be it. Because without him, I wouldn't be where I'm at anyway. And you keep building, and not understanding that what you give is not going to be 100% either. Let the next individual find where your chink, where your weakness in the chain at, and keep building and building and building and moving forward. Okay. And that's what I found in, because I was a hater myself, right? I had that lower vibration energy in me until I dove into spirituality. Like, no, man, like these brothers, it's love, right? It's great love that these brothers have given, and sisters. All right. I learned, I forget the sister's name, but, I learned my first dip into astrology was from a Moorish sister. All right. My first dip into the lingo game was from a Moorish sister. She's kind of a heavyweight sister, dark skin. I forget her name. All right. But, all the Moorish masters, okay, the etymology master, I forget the brother's name. He wears braids. He wears like a kind of like a Islam cap.
Yeah, brother.
All of these masters. Yeah. I'm sorry, say that again.
I was saying, Brother Abdullah.
Exactly. That I'm a master of a master, right? These masters we got, like, what about this goodness that's coming from it? And I think that's we who are a high level understanding got to understand, well, we got to go past understanding because I'm sure we understand, but we got to have sympathy for the so-called haters. We have to have sympathy for the ignorant, because they literally, again, Christian doctor, they know not what they do. They are a lack of understanding. Everybody has so much sympathy for the guy who's getting beat up by the other guy, right? The guy's getting pummeled. He's getting kicked and beat. But you really should have sympathy for the one who's doing the beating, because he's in hell. The anger that's upon him, the fire of which he's boiling in, the karma that's coming his way, if not in this lifetime, the next, or the one after that, is going to be so thick and detrimental to him that we have to lend understanding and great mindfulness to such an individual. All right? We should love the haters more than anybody, because they are in such a state of negativity. So, and I don't know if I hit that question head on, or if I just kind of skidded past it, brother. But let me know, and I hit it again.
You're good. Yeah, you're straight. You are straight.
Cool.
When we were talking about the judgment, You know, people not knowing what they're about to get. For the ones that are righteous, the ones that have been doing their work, what, based on the teachings that you've followed, studied from different masters that you've been under, what are they saying about the righteous, and what's the message for the people who do good and still get their ass kicked, but they still let it get up and do good anyways, just because?
That's a wonderful question. Wonderful, wonderful question. A lot of us, I was listening to an elder the other day, and he gave this great example of insanity. And he basically spoke about the fact that insanity has to do with being in somebody else's mind. Because if you're insane, you're out of your mind and you're in somebody else's mind. Okay. To be in somebody else's mind is, you know, the preacher tells you, you need to go out and wash cars, and you need to go out and be good to your wife, and you need to come here and give $20, and then you go do that stuff. Right? And I mean, you're out of your mind and you're insane, right? You're following what somebody else is telling you to do to so-called be in line with the spirit. But once you get deep into astrology and you understand south nodes and north nodes, you understand ascendant signs and what it means, right? Everybody walks around there think that they're their sun sign or their moon sign. I'm a Capricorn sun, okay? But your sun and your moon, that's your ego. Your ascendant is the most important part of the astrological makeup. That's your spiritual self. That's who you are to become in this life, and how you become that spiritual aspect of yourself, all right? You have to walk the path of your north node. Okay? So my north node is in the 8th house. Okay? One of the things that the 8th house deals with is life and death, dying to certain things in order to be resurrected within, while still being alive, but having to be resurrected, a new mind state, a new inner self. That's what I have to do to become my spiritual self, which is an Aquarius, right? My ascendant is Aquarius. Okay? So now, let's deal with this for a second, all right? Because you made the statement, it's brothers and sisters out here who they are walking this righteous path and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but they're getting whooped. What I say to that is that they may very well be insane. They may be out of their mind and in somebody else's. Because for me, I have to die, right? Like one of the things I had to die to was this whole, I take care of my grandmama, I take care of my mama, I pay for the houses, I do all this. Well, I'm reading my astrological chart. I got to die to that. I had to die to the comfort of which money brought. I had to die to certain things. Okay? For me, that's what I am supposed to do in order to reach my spirituality. Now, for me to come and tell Cujo, right, if things going wrong in your life, and I tell you, hey, you know what, dog, you need to die to that whole taking care of your mama stuff and taking care of your grandma stuff. You need to let all that go, bro, and then you're going to get to a higher level. You would be insane. You would be out of your mind and in minds to follow what I told you that's going to work for you spiritually. You have to look at the script that you wrote for your own life, because there is no free will here. The free will you had is before you got here. You wrote a beautiful story, and you said, I'm going to go down there and do this, 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 and this. You wrote your own law. And if you come down here and break your law, it's easy to see because things are not going well for you. If you can't come down here and abide by your own law, then things tend to go well. It's that simple. I pulled the brother's chart, and his North Node pointed to the fact that he was not to try to gain any type of fame, any type of credentials or high-end job. Now just think about this, right? In order for him to reach his spiritual self. Because I think his ascendant was a Pisces. According to the Tibetan astrology, Pisces are the oldest spirits. All right. You know, you go Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Those are the children in ascendant. If those are your ascendant signs, then you're a child spiritually. The teenagers, the spiritual teenagers are Libra, Leo, Scorpio, and Virgo. And then, of course, the adults are Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay. So he was basically not to try to get rich, not to try to get any accomplishments, to just basically let all that stuff go. Right? It's some people where their North Node is in the 10th house. The 10th house is dealing with Capricorn. The 10th house is dealing with outer success, running business, fame. Some people, they are here to accomplish stuff for everybody else to see, to inspire. So imagine me telling the person, right? Because this thing worked for the brother who his ascendant was Pisces, and his whole thing was to let everything go and basically not be nobody. Imagine me telling the individual whose North Node is in the 10th house, man, yeah, look, you just gotta let stuff be, man. Just don't forget all that success. Go live in the woods, be a nobody. Go be a dishwasher. You know what I mean? Humble yourself. Well, that ain't what he here for. That ain't his walk. That's not the path he is to walk to reach his spirituality. Period. So a lot of people think that they're walking this virtuous, this righteous path, but they are doing what is right for somebody else. They're out of their minds. Okay? And a lot of times it works because a lot of people understand that they got similar stuff, right, in their charts regarding the North Node. Y'all supposed to kind of do a similar thing in order to reach your spirituality. So it may work for a lot of people, but obviously it don't work for everybody because we all wrote different laws and different stories before we came down here into this matrix. All right? We have to start incorporating all of our great sciences, all right, with this great binding glue, right? All of our great sciences, the Vedas, that's our stuff, okay? The Kemetic teachings, of which, you know, Judaism and Christianity is kind of is watered down of the Kemetic strip. All that's our stuff. Kabbalah, Sufism. The Sufis will call those who were born with the wool. Okay? Well, there's only one human that's born with the material wool that's attached to them, and they look like you and I, Cujo. Okay? Sufism, that's all our stuff. We got to incorporate it all and bind it together in meditation and get a deep understanding of what's going on. A lot of us, just like you said, are getting whooped. We're walking this righteous, this upright life, and we're getting whooped. Like how? Because what you're doing ain't meant for you. It's meant for somebody else. And that's a very difficult thing for people to accept. But the science of astrology was our original religion. Religion means there is a weekly practice. Every Saturday or Sunday, or whenever, you know, the ancient Kemites had a 10-day week, okay, but you sit down and you go over your chart because you know what's going to happen to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know what's going to happen to you for the whole week. And you say, okay, I see this is going to be this, all right. You did that every week. Because astrology tells you, you can get so specific. It tells you basically you can break your life down to the hour if you want to spend that much time. And you proceed forward with your week, remaining equanimous to everything that's going to happen. Everything in your life you already have written into your life. You're just here to observe, right? You're just here to abide by the law that you wrote. Okay, this is my north node. I'm supposed to be walking this path to become spiritual. And whatever happens as I walk this, I'm going to remain equanimous. I'm just going to observe it so I can learn. Then you graduate on. All right? Now, in Gautama taught, or the ancient great meditative ancestor taught, that there are different levels of solidification. Okay, there are different levels of what people call them different heavens. I call it different levels of solidification, right? Because this level that we're in, this earth realm level, you know, we're pretty dense and solidified. At the highest level, the 32nd level, you're extremely ethereal. A lot of times you get to that level because you live for so long. I think Gautama spoke on the fact that the lifespan is equivalent to you trying to sand down a mountain with a cotton ball. That's how long you're alive in that ethereal realm, which is the highest ethereal realm. All right. A lot of times you can think that you are eternal and that you have reached godhood at that level, but you have to remain equanimous at that level and observe at that level as well until you totally dissimulate and join back into the great one. Okay.
And would you, quick interjection, would you say that observing is the concept of the master always being a student?
Is it the concept of the what? The master what?
Master always being a student.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So, yeah, that's what's happening with this so-called righteous walk that a lot of us are having, and we don't understand, you know, why things are going wrong, or you know what I mean? Because again, like you said, we as the master, we wrote our law before we came down. We wrote a master law, and we said we're going to go down here and be students and observe this thing happen. All right, and we put the remembrance of who we are in the easiest place to remember. We didn't put it in the sky. We didn't put it in the water of this matrix. We didn't put it in animals. All you got to do is look in the mirror. We put it like, well, when I get down there, well, when you get down there, you're going to forget. All right. But I put it in an easy place to find. And that's the place we never look. Right? We never sit still, be still, listen for the master, because the master and the student is the same individual. But that's a message for the righteous to get on their grind and find out what's specifically righteous for them, so that they can, if they wish to graduate to higher realms or graduate out of all realms together, what they need to do that. But there are higher realms waiting for our brothers and sisters. Yeah. And whether you're sent back to this realm, if you're sent back to this realm, it will be a much better life for you, even coming back to this realm. All right? Because, again, dealing with the Tibetan astrology, you have to master all 12 signs on the spiritual level in order to graduate. Right? You got to go from Aries to Pisces, okay? And become the 13th zodiac sign yourself, all right? Remember, you know, Christian doctrine, you got the 12 tribes, you got the 12 disciples, and there's always this individual who is telling them and leading them and talking to them. He's mastered these powers, right? Always the same story over and over, right? Talking about the book of the sun, okay? But you also got infused in there the great catastrophic events that's happened over, you know, the multiple 25,000 great year time periods and all of that stuff. It's all so infused. It's hard to pull out a lot of times. Those with the, like you said, with the dogmatic minds, it's hard for them to pull out these beautiful specific things that are applicable for the betterment of our lives.
How's your time looking?
Oh, I have plenty of time, brother.
All right, cool. So we got about 40 minutes. So I think we can let the camel out the bag. So one thing that blew me away is that you did what I thought everybody should do once, you know, they're in a certain position and they get to this information. You know what I mean? You just give it up. Like there's no need for it. If you realize about the higher sciences, then there's no need for the stuff. Whatever it is. You know what I mean? So talk about that, just, you know, like, because it's still a fascinating thing to me that, yeah, somebody actually gave it all up. You know, you hear some people come out, you know, that they do that. You know what I mean? That, like, there's actually people in that realm who are really down for the cause for real. Like, they're not just down for the cause, throw up some sign on TV and make you think, or wear something and make you think that they're down with it, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's actually humanitarian people in the higher realms that bump elbows with certain people and stuff like that. So I don't know, we could just go in on just that, just the whole concept of giving it up and what you've been doing since you gave it up, and, you know, whatever else comes up.
Yeah, well, I was drafted into the NFL second round way back in 2001, and I played 7 years of ball before I injured my wrist. And during those 7 years, you know, my financial advisor became my best friend. So I put away all of my money. So when I retired, I still, due to my injury, I still had, you know, a lot of money left over, and I started a business and other stuff while I played ball. So, which, you know, there was even more monies, fiat currency, whatever people want to call it, coming in. But again, like I spoke on earlier, in retirement, it was a visitation from the ancestral realm by my mother and my great grandmother. And then in me picking up the Christian doctrine, Judaism doctrine, which we call the Bible, and following the principles of the great patriarchs within, I could not deny the experiences I was having. And as I kept moving forward and breaking down the conditioning of what had been put on me, I came to the realization that there was no such thing as money, not in the way that it's been taught to us. True currency comes from within. All right? It's spiritual currency. So when you when you read in that Christian story, it says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. All right? He making me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still water. He restores my soul. He leads me, I forget, for his name's sake, right? He maketh a table for me in the presence of my enemies. Well, what is being spoken of here? All right? Because this Lord is you. And it tells you that once you reach the high you are your shepherd. You are your own caretaker. And once you start taking care of yourself, there are no wants needed. See, that's the problem. Because we don't understand the difference between needs and wants. There's a commonality, whether you agree or disagree with any religious doctrine, and they all speak about how God provides all your needs. And for some reason, we think that is an SUV, a 3,000 square foot house, and money to eat out every night. Okay? But that's not a need. Those are wants. All right? I've been to Asia Minor. Okay? I've been to the area of which they call Zambia today. All right? I've seen living off of people truly surviving off of only what they need. A lot of what people think is impoverished melanated people on this continent, they really don't understand impoverishment. But that's another story. What I'm talking about is spiritual currency. All right? Spiritual currency leaves no room or no need for fiat currency. That's somebody else's magical system. It has nothing to do with your own. But it's so very difficult to break through. It's two, in my opinion, it's two very, very difficult illusionary desires, illusionary conditionings to break through. One is that fiat currency conditioning that you think you needed, and two is the physical passion, right? We call it sex. Those are two very, very difficult things to break out of. Two very, very hard conditioning aspects to break down and get rid of. All right? But once I started sitting down and filling my mind and breaking down that conditioning and seeing that, you know what I need, right? If the sky fell, I know the God in me wouldn't allow it to crush me. If a war broke out in my neighborhood and I needed to walk to the other side, I know that the God in me, because I'm living by the law of which I wrote. The law of which I wrote says that Saturn is in the 8th house. The law of which I wrote says that because Saturn is in the 8th house, if I walk the path of which I'm supposed to walk, it says death may forget about me. So why would I be scared to walk across a war-torn field wondering if I'm going to get killed? If I'm in my right state of mind, walking the path that I'm supposed to walk to become the highest spiritual self I'm supposed to be. See, spiritual currency has to do with there is no worry for need. The only thing I focus on is what I'm supposed to do within my law. And when I do that, I'm going to get paid. I'm not going to get paid no fiat currency. I will get paid with shelter if that is what is needed for me. I will get paid with transportation if that is what is needed for me. If I am to be responsible for somebody else in the physical, children, spouse, I will be given enough to take care of their needs as well. Spiritual currency. See, when you got spiritual currency, it automatically manifests what you need in this illusionary matrix of what we call reality. That's a hard thing to buy into, though, Cujo. And I got to tell you, this is I do not knock brothers and sisters for where they at, because I understand the difficulty of stop eating meat. I understand the difficulty of stop smoking weed. I understand the difficulty of stop abiding in the lower nature of physical passion. I understand because I went through them fires. I meet a brother where he at, and I love him for the majority of his good. But this thing of which I'm talking about, okay, I had a 10,000 square foot home. I had 9 bathrooms. I had I had a Range Rover. It was only 42 of them made. I bought a special edition. I had a Mercedes CL65, $250,000 car. I put a kit on it. I had a Cadillac Escalade. I had $250,000 pinky rings. I had a woman for each day of the week. I had the $10,000 bottles of yak. I had, okay. So I just to give some people some perspective of what I had in this physical realm, right? Stuff that people deem important, or what people call, oh, you was rich. I've never been poor in my life. So once I started leaning on me and recognizing, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do within my own mind state, within my own sanity, to become the spiritual person I'm supposed to be, why would I be worried about anything? Why would I just let it go? So I let it go. Was I scared? You darn right I was scared. I remember my queen looking at me and saying, what do you mean? Are you going to sell the house? I said, no. She said, I don't understand. What do you mean? You just going, we just leave? I said, we just leave. And she's like, but what do you mean? Because she kept saying the same thing. She said, what do you mean? Somebody else going to move in? I said, no, we just leaving. It was a hard concept for her to understand. I called everybody. I knew. I said, y'all, I'm giving everything away. I sold the cars. I gave the money away. All the furniture, because, 10,000 square foot house, that's custom furniture. It's not furniture you go buy. All the furniture, I gave it away. All right? People, let me express a point to brothers and sisters out there who may be listening to this show. If you have fed the homeless consistently, or if you've been anywhere outside of what people call United States, North America, you will come to the realization real fast that people don't change clothes every day. Right? Like we knock people, oh, he got the same thing on, right? But the majority of the world don't change clothes every day. They wash what they had on that day and they put it back on. So why do you need 10 outfits and 4 pairs of shoes? That's a conditioning that's on your mind. Now, again, if your North Node is in the second house, is a house of money and getting rich, and that's what you're supposed to do, then you do it. But for me, that wasn't the case. I decided to lean on true wealth, spiritual wealth. And I ain't turned back since. And I'm getting richer by the years. Okay? Because I'm going further and further on this path of which I have embarked upon for myself. But yes, indeed, that's one of the a huge aspect of the story of my life.
No,
Specifically, this one in which I'm living. Time period.
now what could you talk about because I know another aspect is your stance on the farm, the ecological system.
Oh, indeed.
The all year round concept. Just talk a little bit about that, because I know there's Moors out there who are, you know, in the climates that call for those things. So they definitely are doing that. So there might be some people out there that might want to connect with you with regard to that. But if you could just talk on that.
Yeah, I went out to the because what had happened, I had a background and I had healed my friend of thyroid. He had a hypothyroid. Okay. And I healed him using herbs and vegan food. But the herbs, all of my herbs I was getting from Dr. Sebi and his wives. And I said to myself, and then I also healed the brother from Crohn's. Well, I didn't heal them, I'm sorry. I helped them heal themselves, right? I showed them how to put what's in their body, because the body heals itself. Okay, so let me retract that statement. I gave them minerals and showed them a diet of which will help their bodies heal itself. And so I did that with a brother with Crohn's disease. I did that with a brother with thyroid. My 4 cancer patients who was in stage 4 cancer at the time, I extended their lives, but my knowledge at that time was not as extensive as it is now. And they were supposed to like pass away in like 2 or 3 months, and we ended up extending their lives 12 to, I forget, maybe 16 months past, you know, the original death time. But what I recognized, I was like, these herbs and this food that I'm feeding, I don't know how to grow it. I don't know how to produce it. Like, I'm dependent on the grocery store at Dr. Sebi. You know, Dr. Sebi puts his ingredients on his containers. Like, look, he basically said, look, grow it, break it down yourself, or go find it yourself, and you can do this yourself. All right. So what I did, I signed up, and I went out and learned how to become an organic farmer. I went out to Santa Cruz, California, University of Santa Cruz, California. They had an ecological program, and they basically teach you how to be a master organic farmer. The program's been going on for, you know, a lot of years. And I think that they just had their 50th anniversary a couple of years ago. And what I learned while I was out there is that, yeah, you know, planting seeds every spring and every fall, and, you know, reaping a harvest and storing food, and, you know what I mean, and retoiling the soil and putting nutrients back in it. And that is not our ancestral way of growing food. That has only been about for the last 150 to 200 years, okay? From our non-melanated brothers and sisters, all right? I learned very quickly because the Akasha records in me opened up real quick. I was there for maybe a month. It's a 6-month program. We literally lived on the farm, all right, in like tents, okay? The ancestral blood opened up in me so quick. I'm like, this ain't the right way to farm. And because it's such a liberal environment, I brought that to them. They're like, oh yeah, this is not the superior way of farming. I'm like, wow, right? The superior way of farming is perennial farming, okay? Not annual farming. Annual farming is, you know, you plant something, it grows, it matures, you pull it out or cut it out. You store it or eat it at that time, and then you got to replant it. Well, perennial farming is this. Okay? You take an avocado tree. You take an orange tree. You take an apple tree, depending on what grows in your region. Okay? You take certain bushes, right? Like down here, the blackberry grows extremely well here. Okay? The walnut tree grows extremely well here. All right. What you do is you find for your specific region what the earth naturally produces the best, perennially, which is usually bushes and trees. All right. And you plant them, all right, let's say in your region, because you take Santa Cruz, which is mid-coast California. All right. We're talking about a Mediterranean climate. So oranges grow good there, lemons, limes, apples, all right, avocado trees, all of this, all right. Raspberry, blueberry, and blackberries, all of this grows exceedingly well there. So then, and these are perennials. These are perennial things of which you put in the ground and they live at least 10 to 50 years. Some apple trees live 75 years. Avocado trees live like 400 years. All right. Well, you plant this so that, you know, once it becomes mature, they don't overlap or interfere with each other. All right. You understand that the sun shines from the south to the north. So you put your tallest trees the furthest to the north, coming down to your shortest bush furthest to the south, so that when the sun shines on it, everything gets enough sunshine. And you left enough space that when it matures, it's called agroforestry. When it matures, you're literally just walking through, because it takes 3 to 5 years for perennial systems to start producing fruit. Well, after that, you ain't got to be toiling and taking care of nothing no more for the rest of your life and until your children's lives. They just get up every day, walk through their agroforest perennial system, and pick the fruits off the trees. Okay? That some of it is going to show during the spring, the summer, the fall, and some through the winter. Then you will know, what to store and what to put away. There's no need to keep toiling and working for food unless you want some annual stuff, right? A lot of people don't understand tomatoes certain type of tomatoes is perennial. You can plant it, let it be. It's going to grow back every season, every year. And from there, that creates a much more superior soil, all right? The bacteria in the soil, okay? The protozoa, all right? The nematodes, all right? The spiders, the worms, all of these things are no longer unstable, getting dug up every 4 to 3 months. They're there, all right? The bacteria down there pulling down the nitrogen, all right? The exudates, which is sugar, right? That's why you're not supposed to eat root vegetables, right? That's to feed the stuff down in the soil, right? That's to feed the micro community down in the soil, all right? The anaerobic and non-anaerobic bacteria, all right? The fungi and all that. And so it's literally a whole nother world under the soil. Well, the roots of all vegetables release exudates of sugars and exchange that for minerals, all right? Or stuff that's on the periodic table. Let's say that nitrogen, gold, zinc, magnesium, lead, silver. All of this is in your fruits and vegetables, all right? Well, there's an ion exchange that happens because this micro community is eating this stuff in the soil. It breaks it down, gives it to the root of your vegetable, and your root gives it sugar. It's the most beautiful thing, all right? When you go and dig that stuff up every time, you're killing all of that. Then you got to put in all your extra stuff cow manure and all this extra stuff that got bacteria in it from their stomach, instead of just letting that system sit and that soil just develop with good long perennial roots, then you can go in between those perennial trees and you can do you some annual stuff. Do you some seasonal kale if you want. There's actually a kale bush that's perennial. They call it actually a kale tree. It's perennial. If we start learning what's going on. Okay. So that system right there, I went and learned that. Okay. And I was going to come back and implement that. But when I came back and did, I dove much deeper into my meditation. And of course, that's still on the radar. But I thought I was going to come back, immediately do that, feed all of that Atlanta, so forth and so on. But I learned that system. I know how to implement that system. I'm going to implement that system. I'm just waiting for the God in me to tell me what's the right time to do it, because I recognize my ego was moving me around and telling me to do this and do that. But, that'll have you in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm just waiting. Yes, the God in me tells me to do it. But I went and learned that. And that's the system our ancestors thrive off of, right? They call them oases in the deserts, right? Like people would see these beautiful green garden-less places. Like, how is this person living out here in the middle of nowhere, right? Because you got 100-year, 1,000-year food forest. The roots are so deep that no matter how dry the surface moisture is, they're getting moisture deep, deep, deep. Maybe even tapped into an aquifer, so deep in the ground. And that puts more minerals. The deeper the roots go, the more nutritional the fruit or vegetables are, and the stronger the fruits and vegetables are, because they're not like these wimpy, overwatered trees and things, right? They got these deep, long, strong roots, which they had to pull a lot of minerals. They had to go deep for the water, and it's hard to kill that bush or that tree with a lack of water for years. You know what I mean? All they just may need a season of rain here and there. But that's the system in which our ancestors had, right? Which is so much food. It's such an abundance of food. Like you can't do nothing but give most of it away. That's why in ancient times, nobody hungry. Food is for free. That's what I was like, food. Why is anybody paying for food? It makes no sense. There is so much food, but we don't know, because of the labor-intensive mechanism in which we're doing it. Like people like, look, I got to get paid for this. Like it's just so much work. Ain't no reason to work that hard to produce food.
That's interesting. Agroforestry, you said?
Agroforestry.
Agroforestry.
Yeah. Well, we might as well change to agroforestry, because that's probably where it comes from, right?
We got a few minutes still. As far as again, going back into the spiritual workings, what are some correlations between like or let me rephrase it. Noble Drew Ali said we honor all true and divine prophets, Muhammad, Buddhist, Jesus, Confucius, etc. Could you prove that statement as to why he said that we should honor them relative to him?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. What Prophet Drew Ali came upon is that a truth is a truth is a truth. All right. Me driving down I-85 and recognizing that if I go this speed in this direction down I-85, when I get to the destination of where I'm supposed to be, all right, and in this destination is this beautiful tapestry of flowers that are orange and purple and this beautiful green, lush grass under it and these beautiful spiritual trees that's abounding in this beautiful field. All right. Then somebody else takes I-20, right, or I-90. Okay, they take a totally different road, and it gets them to this exact same place. Okay, and when they get there, they say, "Well, wow, here this is beautiful purple flowers and orange flowers and this beautiful green grass under and these beautiful, wonderful trees and this tapestry, this beautiful field." Okay, and when that happens, and you look over and you see that the end place from any brother, Confucius, Gautama the Buddha, Yeshua, it doesn't matter, Rumi, okay? A truth is a truth is a truth. And when you see the end result of their truth is exactly the same as yours, then you say, well, you know what? I know you took I-85 to get here. That don't matter. So I honor your path as well, because obviously your path leads to the truth as well. So how could I not honor it? How could, if we end up in the same place, Cujo, right? And you say, Brother Kalimba, I did this, and this to get here. How can I look at you like, oh well, you took the wrong route? How can you take the wrong route and end up in the same place? That don't make sense. Oh, you wrong with that. You shouldn't have did that. How you shouldn't have done it? We in the same place. And that's all the prophet is so apparent, and it's such an actual truth to see that this brother saw the truth in him was expressed by these other great masters who took different routes, and that the least he could do, say, right on, brothers, right on. The way y'all did it worked too, right on. And I respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, man.
And
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing. You've traveled too. What type of spiritual messages were you receiving to show you that, okay, yeah, you're on the path. Everything's gonna be just how it's supposed to be.
What ends up happening is you start getting verification in the matrix. Okay, so I'm sitting and I'm meditating, or a so-called need in the matrix, or the illusionary reality pops up. And the first thing I do, I want to react like my old self. Like, well, I got to get some fiat to get this handle, or I got to physically go do this. I got to physically be with my children every day and instilling them this and this, and this, right? But then you start getting this verification because the spirit inside of you, your God inside you, say, whoa, now, hold up. Now, all the works I don't do for you, you finna jump out of and start moving differently all of a sudden. So, okay, so I'm like, okay, so I sit still. All right? Because the spirit says, you don't got to go to nothing, it'll come to you. All right? So, when my babies were young, I homeschooled them, taught them their ABCs, right? Taught the youngest one to use the toilet when she was 1. Okay? Taught them math and taught them adding and subtraction before they hit the 1st grade. Like, they get in school And my elder child is kind of immature. Of course, they're smart, but I'm thinking, wait a minute, like we be whooping it at home. Why they ain't crushing this school stuff? Okay? Me and their mama separate. I got 50-50 joint legal and physical custody. We doing a 2-2-5-5 system. She got them 2, I got them 2. She got them 5, I got them 5. All right? I'm taking them to school. I'm doing homework. I'm working my neck off. We making the honor roll, but it's this great struggle. All right? So I started hitting this spirituality stuff. All right? Gautama, the Buddha say, the most righteous thing you can do is gain control of your mind. And simultaneously, they mama, like, Kalimba, I can't keep up this schedule. I'm not retired like you. I can't keep this schedule up. We got 2 daughters. Could you just give me the girls for most of the time and I just hit you up when I need help? And I'm like, whoa, I don't know about that because I know I'm the one putting all this work with school and so forth and so on. So reluctantly, I said, yeah. Well, immediately they fall off the honor roll. Stuff started going bad. So I'm about to jump and be like, well, we finna get back on this schedule, blah, blah, blah. But the spirit say, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's more than one way to take care of your children. So more than one way to help your children. All that physical action ain't necessary. Sit down, keep your mind still, raise your vibration, and it's going to get on them. All right? I do that, Cujo. My 7th grade daughter now, she's been recommended for high school math. She's been recommended for high school science. She's been given a summer scholarship to I forget what state. My 11-year-old on the honor roll, top student in her grade in math, the only girl in the whole school who's in the top 5. My 13-year-old, the 7th grader, she running cross country. She coming in top 5, not just in the girls, but overall top 5. She's beating the boys too. Okay? Cujo, I ain't helped with one lick of homework. Right? They still with their same mama because I was the educator in the relationship. All I did was raise my vibration. That vibration got on my babies, who I don't see every 2 to 5 day system no more. I'm almost like a glorified babysitter now. Mama just calls me when she needs me. You know what I'm saying? But not to mention my relationship with the mama, we don't fight no more. I have no problems with this sister. Okay? So you start getting this verification within the matrix, like, wait a minute. Stuff started getting better without you physically working for it, physically working towards it. All right? Them 4 brothers and sisters who passed from cancer, all of a sudden when I sat down and stayed still and stopped just working to study, like, well, I went wrong. What did I go wrong with? It came to me, Cujo. I know now that it's not only the overstimulation of the mitochondria in the cell that causes cancer. It's too much nitrogen that cuts off the oxygen blood. Too much nitrogen don't only come from, because nitrogen is one of the natural components of amino acids, which make up proteins, which basically makes up flesh or meat. People call it meat, chicken, beef. But also beans that's too high in protein. Too much nitrogen is in there too. So you cut off oxygen, all right? And of course, understand that cancer is an anaerobic growing, it's an anaerobic growth, cell growth. It doesn't use oxygen. So you got the combination of nitrogen, all right, that's cutting off oxygen, and the overstimulation of the mitochondria from too much glucose, all right, that's causing this growth of cancer, all right? Well, then what do? because the body needs energy. What do? All right. Well, there's another energy source, brother. It's called fat. It's called ketosis, of which you can put yourself in that state by fasting and then slowly implementing more fat into your system, healthy fat, right? Avocados, olives, okay, almonds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, okay?
No pork chops.
Right, no. So I'm sitting still, and this stuff is coming to me, which is verifying, like, oh, it's a whole different system, it's a whole different mechanism, right? This spiritual thing, for me, I'm proving to me on a day-to-day basis, okay, that staying still is the work you have to do. What you need will be brought to you. Okay? And I can give you a million examples in my life. I just stay still, bro. I just stay still. I just keep working on keeping my mind still, listening to the God inside of me. And what I need keeps coming to me. You made the greatest statement at the beginning. You said, things happen in due time. If you would have interviewed me any earlier than this moment, my understanding would have been much more shallow. And maybe the interview, you'd be like, oh, that's a decent interview, but the brother got some growth to go. And of course, I ain't nowhere near where I'm going to be. Right. But I assure you, where I am now, if the interview any earlier, it would not have the sustenance. Yeah. Right? They wouldn't have the flavor that we cooking with right now.
Right.
And that is a direct result of me sitting down and staying still, bro. Learning to keep my mind still. Right? Well, I think it is Christian, peace, be still. People don't know what that means. Right? People think Yeshua actually told them that the only way to the Father is through me, for I am the truth, the way, and the light. It's so easy to see that that's what he told them to say about themselves, that it's absolutely ridiculous. Look yourself in the mirror, right? It's so easy to see somebody adulterated and turn that upside down. Okay? I am the way, the truth, and the light. This is what he told them to say to themselves. And the only way to the Father is through me. Right? It's quite simple. But it's quite complex to a dogmatic mind, which I understand. But now, yeah, the truth, these inner truths keeps getting verified externally. We call it manifestation, right? If you want to give a term to it. It happens over and over, every single moment of every single day of my life. And because I haven't driven in 5 years, okay? My children's mother decided somebody's parents died. It was 3 of them. She decided, I don't know why, because she's not the richest person on the planet in fiat currency. She decided she was going to take on these extra 3 children and help them out. And now they live with her in her very small house and with very skimpy fiat currencies to help. So I said, well, of course, I'm going to help you. So I had to get a vehicle, specifically I said, I need a minivan. It's 5 children. Well, I ain't got no money to get no minivan. But I have a minivan right now. I had no money to get a minivan. Fiat currency, I should say. But I've been stacking my spiritual paper. And when I reached out, right, in this illusionary matrix to grab at a minivan, my spiritual currency purchased it for me. And now I got one. And I'm able to help my children's mother with these 5 children. They run around here right now, making a lot of noise. And I picked them up in a minivan purchased with spiritual currency. That is that connection. You have to walk through your fear. You have to be willing to fail to succeed, right? The mother bird pushes the baby out of the tree, knowing that just flap your wings, you're going to take off. But the bird thinking, I'm going to die. I'm going to hit this ground and die. Flap your wings, brothers and sisters. You will take off.
Islam to that more.
There's nothing to be, brother.
Well, I don't know if you have anything that you want to plug, or any initiatives, or any, you know, sites, whatever other social media, whatever they got out there, or, you know, if you want to be contacted, email address, whatever. But yeah, just put whatever you got out there. And
well,
go ahead, man.
I'm sorry, my email is because I don't watch TV, I don't social media. I basically meditate, and what comes to me, I cipher through that to see if I should, you know, engage in it, right? And, you know, I have to really cipher through it, because a lot of times my ego wants to jump on stuff. But then the higher self says, yeah, engage in that. So I really don't know a lot of what's going on, but if somebody hears this and they want to contact me, my email is my first name, KALIMBA _ my last name, Edwards, EDWARDS, at yahoo.com. That's the best way to contact me. And like I said, I recommend any type of meditation, but the meditation that I practice is Vipassana meditation, VIPASSANA. They have centers here in Georgia. They have a center here in Georgia. There's centers in Texas, centers in California, centers up in Massachusetts, I think in New York. You can go on the website. You can look up Vipassana meditation centers. Go on the website wherever you are. You can sign up for a 10-day meditation session. No cell phones, no computers of any sort. It's free. Okay, they feed you for 10 days, house you. It's a silent retreat, right? You sit down, you're meditating for 3 to 11 hours a day, able to tap into your inner self. If you want to jump to that serious level, if you're ready to get off of your home meditation and really dive deep into this thing, I recommend that for people as well. If you need more information on that, email me and I'll give you more information on that. And I just would like to put out I called a lot of people when I first became a Moor, and Cujo picked up the phone and spoke to me and gave me great advice. So a lot of brothers and sisters that are so very busy teaching and doing their thing. And he is so very busy, right? With the Canaanland Moors and the radio and putting out a plethora of information. But he picked up the phone. And not only did he pick up the phone, he's kept in contact with me. He's kept up with me over these years. And I just wish to express my gratitude and my appreciation for you, brother. Because when a lot of people didn't pick up the phone, you did for me. And
you know, well, we already know what Allah got in hand if you're playing around with the birthrights. So I'm just I just protected my ass. That's all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, if one more time, if you could put out the website for the meditation for people.
Let's look up Vipassana, VIPASSANA meditation. The one that's in Georgia is called the Southeast Vipassana Center. But if you just look up Vipassana centers, they will show you all of them around the world. But because when you Google it, they usually show you the ones in the United States. They're in Texas, Georgia, Massachusetts, California. But the one in the Southeast is here in Georgia that we're looking to get more. The one in the West is 3 of them in California. It's 2, I think, in Texas. It's 2 or 3 up north, one in Massachusetts, maybe one in New York and somewhere else. But yeah, they're around. Yeah.
Well, give thanks, bro. Appreciate the bill today. Appreciate you taking the time and sharing your wealth of knowledge with the family. Everybody said their Islam. And oh yeah, just to put your appellation on the record, because everybody wants to know who. Hey, so who's this? Who we talking to?
My name is Kalimba Edward. I'm a retired NFL football player. I went to the University of South Carolina. I played for University of South Carolina from 1998 to 2000. I was #1 linebacker in the nation. Got hurt my senior year, got drafted 3rd pick of the 2nd round in 2001. Played 7 years of professional football. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. When I retired at the age of 28, I started to wake up, and that's when I bumped into the Moors, and as expressed earlier, that's the great foundation of which I have built everything else on, and it's Islam forever for me.
Islam forever.
Forever.
Well, give thanks, fam, and we'll definitely be in touch. And send
much love, Cujo. Thank you very much.
And send your love to the family too.
Will do. Same to yours.
All right. Peace and love, more.
Peace, brother.
So, Will, you got something today. So you know everybody's on it. Don't forget, June 17th, 5 Principles Cuisines at the Sidecar Restaurant, 577 College Street. They're having an all-you-can-eat brunch, June 17th, 2018, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sidecar Restaurant, 577 College Street. The email, 5principlescuisines@gmail.com. Number 5, principlescuisines@gmail.com. For the January 17th all-you-can-eat brunch, it's children free, teens 10 notes, and adults 20 notes. And as well, don't forget MHHS tonight, eyes wide open, 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Make sure you call in. Got questions, whatever, you just want to listen. Or 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201, 347-945-5899. Islam to all the Moors. Peace and love to everybody. Give thanks for the time. Give thanks for the attention. And give honors to the Prophet, Noble Juali. Honors to all you Moors. Don't forget, spread the word. We're doing Canaanland Moors 2 now. Because, when they start ratting on you, when they start snitching, because you call them a snitch, that proves to you that they're a snitch. So watch out for these Moors out here. Continue to study, open your mind, and don't forget, find some time to let peace be still. Islam, Moors.
And conscious means that you're conscious of what's going on in this world. You're fully aware and awake to what's going on in this world. That's what conscious rap means. So if you got conscious rap, that means you got unconscious rap. That means you got motherfuckers that's unconscious rapping. That means they sleeping. They still under the spell of Leviathan. They still under the spell of King.
Call me brother man, I'm not the rubber man. Though I keep my Nazis in affairs wrapped with some rubber bands. Bunning out the Ku Klux Klan and Wizard Grand, Dairy Queen misters. Just butts of guns I'm giving. Trying to make more sovereign citizens, these minions. Help kill your prophet, stole your treasury millions. You heard it from your brother man, not a smother sellout. Sex links and K2 Kush days keep me red out. I got the knowledge to make these silly hoes question the pimping directors of music videos. Gay laws and persons with strap-on boots with heels. Too much graphic art faces, boobs are not real. Since MCM and Troop, they use Timberland boots to get us all caught up in fashion, not the simple men roots. Got our people on dogmatic, not metaphysic. Exoteric, not esoteric is how you missed it. So out of it, you couldn't feel the natural mystic blowing through the air like it didn't give a shit. I hear the dirty Moors dissing, cause I said profanities. A lot of these grand sheets need to take off the panties. Pull the thong out your crack fest wearing flash ass nigga. Return to where the prophet found you, Negro, what's that nigga?
It's time to choose a side. You're either positive or you negative. You're either evil or you good. You understand what I'm saying? Choose a side, nigga. I know what side I'm on.
I throw a Molotov at the priest that works for the beast. All they want is our people to rest in peace. No attention of allowing more stress to ease. Cracker won't go home to spread himself the disease. Genocidal epidemic kill us in high proportions. Instead of mummified, we stay boxed in coffins. Mayors attend funerals for PR purposes. Where's the police escort? He replied with nervousness. He said, I don't have those numbers or connections to have Metro Police lead your friend's funeral procession. That's coming from Mr. Mayor, black community player, no question in the hood. Dropping up boxes of weapons, then blame black on black crime on natural causes. Plus those doctors are not on point but off a bit. Natural mystics prove they're not holistic. Hypocrite oaths make your children autistic.
I'm at the point now where I'm saying I'm tired of mixing the medicine with the food. I'm tired of playing that game. Now I'm shoving straight medicine down your fucking throat, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Straight doses of medicine and getting shoved down your throat. I don't give a fuck if it turns you off or not. Because if it do turn you off, then you're stupid, ignorant motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Don't judge like a cover of your favorite book. Visit you in your dreams, hand with the hook. Paralysis overtook, so shook. Stop, look, listen with precision. MC on a mission, vision. Past senses and endless. Cypher with active Moors, beat you with facts senseless. Have your mind defenseless when the truth enters. Out of glow, reminds me of Omar Bay, Algonquin embers. Tap your pioneer out, what's up man remembers. All the lies told to your mind dismembered. Circle broken into quadrants, you the 7 and the center compass G between the square. Baphomet of Templars, Warlock, call on my witch mothers to maim them. The same wise spirits burned at stakes in Salem. Torture with vagina pair, survive, bobbing for apples. Contort thumb slide, wrist out, tight shackles.
I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around.
Yeah. You know, we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Sheik, Cujo L, Iron Sheik. Yeah. Yeah.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fez, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Race COS adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my G? Got a problem with me? I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. Sevens up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? I don't rock a head, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tosh to be they taught the world don't respect you. However, since you want to be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Mumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mark D. Condolences, QB, RIP Prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you Sarahite, trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabeh, Bey knows Moorish Master MC. Fuquan Bey and Daddy IU on some Moorish degrees. Sprague and Bojuno, they even killed Peter because of Macintosh. Still visit the global planets, hip-hop astronauts, Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers, to higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency, pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known, to go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul, large professor built pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady, cause Nori said Drew Ali on a track, so call me petty, also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album, Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them, Operation Lockdown, video feathers like I said to do. Initiate invasions, activate our doors, every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fez, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what I said? We are Moors. We are Moors. I rap like I'm smuggling drugs, it's not about that, my guns are books. They're giving me looks, on the train reading, seeing but not believing. Ancient bloodline resurrecting front the face of heathens. Still indie, I rap like cloth indigo. Medallions and medals, Nazi locks and kingly rolls are stuffed in knitted tams. Peace to the gods legend. To the fam that passed, we miss you, brethren, and the sisters fall into forms of violence. We will speak for you too and won't be silent. Seeing some get a little knowledge, think they know it all. Our crazy mental open stargates and temple wars. Manchurian candidates shoot elders opening doors. Mind controls to reject. Deprograms from Moors, priestess. Remain humble, I know the weakest will inherit the earth. Hear me out, sheik and sheikess. When we talk, we bless. When we dress, True Ali and Garvey badges on my chest. In the honor of Lynch Moore, catch an alpha hex. You had your turn to flex, but Iron Sheik is next. When we talk, we bless. When we dress, True Ali and Garvey badges on my chest. In the honor of Lynch Moore, catch an alpha hex. You had your turn to flex, but Iron Sheik is next. Euros played you through Martin King and Nelson Mandela. Now you're lost in skull bones, rocks and fellas. Buying ball teams, living slave masters' dreams. Can't degrade the great seal with pyramid schemes. Sumer knowledge is hidden by numerologists, and they conspire to bury us in tomb colleges. No matter what the offer, they sell out with sign. Strangling whack and teasing rappers with the signature line. I'm not the type to go to church, though I know my power. Scientists do melanin research. No need looking up as above, so below. Some say Horus, but hey, Ru is the hero. Speak strange truth, eat strange fruit. Not swinging from a stem, but a slave noose. Hung by those in dorms, hats with horns. Too much dying for sins without the caps of thorns. When we talk, we bless. When we dress, True Ali and Garvey badges on my chest. In the honor of Lynch Moore, catch an alpha hex. You had your turn to flex, but Iron Sheik is next. When we talk, we bless. When we dress, True Ali and Garvey badges on my chest. In the honor of Lynch Moore, catch an alpha hex. You had your turn to flex, but Iron Sheik is next. Our tribe will guide, we will survive. If you need something, just ask God, I will provide. With black lungs, here's energy to outrun cops. Or in under 100 meters, catch Reverend Pork Chops. The soul digger, blunts and half quarter bringer. Not the gold Jesus head pendant swinger. Not with the brim spinning, going nowhere. Thinking like snails, not the Muslim. Not my beautiful wife behind veils. Not the fake prince from Wales. Walking on ancestors' blood to get awards and tuxedos with tails. Sirens make young men bail like, hey, get caught, never receive bail right away. Don't get vexed or get American History X or shank with the made from nothing jail objects. Too many, don't object and stay bonded. Making masters' pockets bigger, currency not grounded. To walk a mile in my shoes, shop Salvation Army. If you wanted this song, you must harm me. Change it up like a facelift. Out this world like spaceships. Mummified my beast state, I'm not a mental patient. When we talk, we bless. When we dress, True Ali and Garvey badges on my chest. In the honor of Lynch Moore, catch an alpha hex. You had your turn to flex, but Iron Sheik is next. When we talk, we bless. When we dress, True Ali and Garvey badges on my chest. In the honor of Lynch Moore, catch an alpha hex. You had your turn to flex, but Iron Sheik is next. Conscious coons play tough in email wars, back and forth like waves crashing on seashores. Questioning my MC skills like magistrates when KKK men treat you like the savages. Why? Cause they uphold the Constitution. Dred Scott could tell you ex-slaves lack a constitution. In war, for some there's collateral damage. Moors are the shrine of the shrine of maggots. Take heed, matter of fact, take this book that I know you won't read or take a look. Won't even turn one page in it, that's why I'm finished. Teaching y'all the game, y'all just love to scrimmage. Run to YouTube to quote minions' opinions. That stroke your chakras, got you thinking that's wisdom. Knowledge of self means get knowledge of self. You can tap the cell memory on the DNA shelf. Can teach you how to be overt or stealth. Black Peter and Santa Slave, that's where they get the L's. For real, told you I'm serious, I'm not joking. You might see the locks, but don't think that I'm smoking. Not cause hybrids claim Europe means that I'm roping and dunking them in fire and brimstone with lava molten. I quicker toss a rapper in the flaming pit and toss a sellout and a trader in the same pit. Rap and be a singers get tossed in too. So with all the Indians that aren't native Hindu, I rap Hannibal, not the cracker like Manson. The first black prez is a Morgo Asker. All these so-called players up in the rap game got brothers on the corner still with cocaine. All these so-called players up in the rap game got youth man trying to beat them, losing his brain. All these so-called players up in the rap game got sisters whoring and daughters doing the same. All these so-called players up in the rap game, all these so-called players up in the rap game. You can talk the talk, but I won't trip. Since Iron Sheik, I'm asking to see a slave ship. Show me a slave ship bolt or a slave ship sail, a slave ship plank or a slave ship nail. I can show you. They would have drowned in piss from 4 months of urination in the big bottom ships. Sleeping on my hair, my neck is crooked for weeks, but chained for months. Slaves jump up and hit the fields. All the black Indians got turned to Negro slaves, black and colored with Euro names on their graves. During Columbus expeditions, Moors got shipped to Europe and returned to be burned and whipped, branded, under and overhanded. Andrew Jackson tried to kill us when the Seminoles banned it. Haitian Moors used Aruba, formed an alliance and gained serpentine fire through American science. All these so-called players up in the rap game got brothers on the corner still with cocaine. All these so-called players up in the rap game got youth man trying to beat them, losing his brain. All these so-called players up in the rap game got sisters whoring and daughters doing the same. All these so-called players up in the rap game, all these so-called players up in the rap game.